Mayor Zach, welcome back to Mayor's Monday right here on the main drag coming into Wisconsin Rapids from the north, a section of town that you've got quite a bit of construction going on right now here. As you can see, we've got the YMCA and the VA clinic in the background. This is a project it's been years in the making, and for you, I'm sure it's got to be absolutely exciting to see this finally move.
Well, big community projects such as the YMCA Boys and Girls Club and the relocation of the VA clinic is one such example of a community project that takes many years to realize, and we still find it surreal. My office is right across the street here at City Hall, so I look out at this site every day and have for the last 6.5 years, and to have seen a mall decline and then ultimately become vacant with the departure of JCPenney and then many of the other stores, and then the YMCA Boys and Girls Club recognizing a major opportunity with another funder, the Legacy Foundation, among others, and the community really coming together to help realize the YMCA Boys and Girls Club vision of relocating and siting the two projects together is quite exciting. The project was in some form at least a decade in the making, and so its construction cycle, as was mentioned, the VA clinic is right over my right shoulder. That project, or that will be relocated to the back of the mall property, and they'll have a new facility that'll actually grow in size, is what's anticipated. And then the former JCPenney anchor will become the new Boys and Girls Club, so that'll feature a number of new spaces. But really the neat part about the two organizations coming together is really because Boys and Girls Club students and members will now have full access to the YMCA's amenities and facilities. So something that's very unique for Boys and Girls Clubs and YMCA's to have done this. There's just a couple around Wisconsin and a handful more around the country. So we're very excited about having this. The mall sits in a very prominent position at the edge of our formal downtown boundary. We consider the mall being the west end of our downtown riverfront district. The state highway being over my left shoulder, carrying tens of thousands of cars a day, the mill being right in the background, I guess, of the photo that you can't see. But really this property is very important to our downtown and to the community. So by having these organizations come together and redevelop this property in now a $27.5 million state-of-the-art Boys and Girls Club YMCA is very exciting. But we know it's more than the building, right? It's these facilities to be able to work together for youth to have quality space and quality access to the programming of both organizations is exciting.
And we've seen something similar happen in Stevens Point, where you lose a retail area. Stevens Point lost their Kmart. Not even a couple of months later, they've got a new project that they're ready to move dirt on in that site as well. You lost your mall right away. You have another project ready to move dirt on and bring something into that space. So this isn't just, what folks can see right now as I kind of move the camera around. Without this project, this would just be a giant parking lot right here on a prime corner of downtown Wisconsin Rapids.
Yeah. I'm not going to pretend that it happens magically and it's that quick. I'm sure the Stevens Point case can tell you the same thing. Kmart's been in its decline for many, many years, right? Mm-hmm. Wisconsin Rapids lost its Kmart nearly 20 years ago. So we've seen the writing on the wall with some of the retail, and I think that's what you see in communities like up and down the river, in Stevens Point namely, right? Their downtown mall was not even here when you moved to the community. It was something that I remember as a kid. And our mall, unfortunately or fortunately, had a longer lifespan than many shopping malls in the area. So certainly we saw the writing on the wall, as it were, and really mobilized over the course of a period of time with people that really saw the opportunity and really wanted to make this happen. So when Walmart left, was the first anchor to have left in 2001. Here we are in 2018, just after 40 years ago that the property opened in the community. So, we can't pretend that these things happen overnight or happen very simply, because community projects like this are very challenging and very costly when you figure this over a greenfield redevelopment site.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's great to see. Even in just the few months that I've been coming back and forth here to come down to Wisconsin Rapids to see the progress that's being made on this site. I know the groundbreaking was really unique because you didn't break ground per se. You bulldozed a door,
right,
to kind of get the project going. So give us a timeline now. From where we bulldoze that door, how long is this going to take? When do you anticipate maybe a big ribbon cutting down here?
Well, we believe, based on the schedule that's been proposed, that it'll be a 2020 opener, so just over a year and a half from now. So people's patients are going to have to, there'll be a lot of activity on the site over the course of the next couple of months, so people will start seeing parts of the mall come down. Really only a small percentage of the mall will remain for the property, but generally the footprint of the parking lots and things, people will see a lot of construction activity and mobilization over that period of time, but it's about 18 months of construction from start to finish.
And lastly, I've got to ask you, because I've been dying to ask you ever since I found out that you bulldozed the door as the groundbreaking. Whose idea was that? Did you ask to be the one to maybe crash into the door?
Well, it was definitely the general contractor's equipment. So I will give Myron a lot of kudos for having a very fun, groundbreaking activity. I mean, it was really well attended by youth and supporters and donors and people who just really wanted to see that project happen here, which has been very exciting for our community.
Yeah, absolutely. And we absolutely love to see a project like this, especially something that's going to benefit the community. Ever since the last time we've talked as well, we've been talking about some housing redevelopments. You've had some housing that's just about finished, just about ready to come online. Could you give us an update on a couple of those projects?
Yeah, so actually there's a housing project that's happening on the back side of the mall as well. We took a small piece of land that'll now be a 4-story housing project for apartments, and that'll break ground here the next month. They're actually going to press into winter construction, which is kind of uncommon for projects, but so there'll be a lot of activity on just this site in particular. But the other projects that we've highlighted in the past, which is multifamily apartments on the city's east side of town, that project, as you mentioned, is ready for occupancy, and it continues on pace. I know that is a project that folks will have to apply to live there, as you do with other housing, so that's something people can find information online.
Absolutely, and again, projects like that is something that's very important for your community, as you said. Some of the other projects that we've kind of been following here, I know you were scheduled a couple of weeks ago to have an update on your riverfront project. That was called off because of rain, which we are kind of up against here tonight as well. So give us an update on that, because that's a project that I know you're pretty proud of, connecting some 20 miles of trail here throughout Wisconsin Rapids.
Yeah, so on the city's east side, the riverfront, the riverbank stabilization has nearly been complete. So we brought riprap and bank stabilization. As we saw some water levels rise this summer, again, it was another reminder that if we don't stabilize and control the erosion at our riverbanks, we're going to lose those riverbanks to high flood events. So that project is continuing on schedule. We expect that the project to be finished and open up fully for the public at the end of the season, so probably around the major season change from fall to winter, but it'll be fully open for residents to enjoy next spring. So we're obviously putting over a mile of trail in to connect the miles of trail on both the north end and the south end, as well as some under bridge crossings for people to get under the divided state highway that is the Riverview Expressway.
Yeah, it's another project, another great reason to get outdoors no matter the time of the year down here in Wisconsin Rapids, because I know you do maintain some of those trails year-round. So,
we do.
Folks that are, just want to get outside and run in the cold, if you're so inclined, I'm not one of them, or even people, I think you've mentioned before, training for marathons, kind of like to use that.
We've got some folks that are marathon runners and run Boston qualifiers, so they love to run and stay in shape and keep their times throughout the year. So certainly very proud of the trail system we have in Wisconsin Rapids. It's one of those bright spots that we believe attracts residents and keeps people in this community, because not everybody has that opportunity, whether they don't have a riverfront or don't have the trail system in place.
One more thing before we let you go. I know this is a big project that we haven't really talked a whole lot about here on this program. I've talked with Joe Terry, your Public Works Director, about it numerous times, but wanted to get your insight on it as well. An update to the city's wastewater treatment plant. I know that's maybe hit a couple snags here and there with that, but I know that's a project that's moving along as well, and an essential project for the city.
So it's part of the city's collection system. So it's outside the treatment plant. It's essentially the effluent line, the wastewater line that crosses our city's river. The river is very wide in Wisconsin Rapids, so we actually directionally bored a line underneath the riverbed in the bedrock. And that project, the line is finished. Now there's just restoration work that's going on right now. So fortunately that project's over, but now Now they begin the other part of that, that's the lift station. So that's what lifts all the effluent and sends it underneath the river and then up to the treatment plant ultimately. So that project's going to press into winter construction because they ran into some bedrock early in the project that put it way behind schedule, and so that's proceeding now as we head into fall.
And again, as a mayor, in figuring out things like this with public works, obviously you have the good people around you that know what they're doing. They're the experts in the field. How much do you have to learn about a project like this, or kind of cram or study on a project like this, so that way you can make an informed decision or help make an informed decision?
Well, let me just say, before I ran for office, I never knew how much I would rely on my chemistry, my biology training, whether in high school or college, because I know a lot more about wastewater treatment than I ever cared to understand. But it comes with the job, right? And you really need a long-range plan. You really need to make sure that the right people are in the right positions. And frankly, you need to do the tough things and to raise the money and raise the rates to afford to maintain the infrastructure. Because if you have mishaps, wastewater in particular, with a river, it's incredibly unforgiving. The EPA and the DNR would not be forgiving if the city had issues with that river crossing or with any other wastewater collection incidents. So, it's from a mayor's perspective, you want to make sure you have the right people in the right positions and the plan and the financing to go behind it, or you really can be in trouble in a hurry.
Up a creek, so to speak.
That's right. You said it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we appreciate the time as always, Mayor Zach. We appreciate the backdrop here and everything that's going in Wisconsin Rapids to really make this community go. Again, thanks. We'll look forward to chatting again next month.
Sounds good, Michael. Thank you.